Hey guy, welcome back to our podcast. And today we have reflection 356, and we have a brand new book as well. The book is called Backable. It's an entrepreneurial book.
It is. It's the surprising truth behind what makes people take a chance on you by the author Suneel Gupta. You know Sanjay Gupta on CNN, like the Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Yes.
This is his brother, actually,
Okay.
Suneel. And Suneel is like a entrepreneur. I forget what his business was. It was something like I think it was something in the medical world as well. I don't know. I'm trying to find his bio, and it's all it takes me to is this book. Hang on.
Co-founded Service of Rise, a mobile health
Yeah,
company that lower the
that's it.
cost of quality care for thousands of patients.
That's it. So
Is that it?
Rise Labs, that was the business that he tried to launch and get funded. That's what this book is about. He pitched his idea a lot and he tried to get this thing launched and funded, and he got a whole lot of no's until he finally researched enough and learned enough and started to get some yeses. And this is his kind of story about, why somebody backs somebody and, helps them to achieve their dreams or not. Right. And I mean, there is like that's about the kind of the science of believing in somebody else and getting somebody else to believe in you, basically, right?
It's just a sales approach. I mean, it's
Yeah,
about listening, right? What this guy wants.
kind of, right? So here's the thing. It's a good way to just jump into the reflection because that's basically what my reflection is about. So this one is going beyond Google to answer your beautiful question. I think personally, if you want to be backable, it starts with you truly believing in yourself. You and I have talked about this a lot over this journey about the main thing about Clubany is in order to even get into Clubany, to be a Clubany member, in order to participate in anything, you first have to go through what we call a core values quest. If you don't really know anything at all, then find that as a starting point of the first track that you can keep following down until you really figure out who you are and what you really care about and what really matters to you, right? And this is, I think, one of the biggest things that so many people don't understand about anything in life, really. I don't know. You correct me if I'm wrong on what your thoughts are on this, but if you were going to advise, I don't care if you're an entrepreneur, I don't care if you're working at a company, I don't care if you're just, you know, a regular person that's just trying to make, that doesn't have a family, not married, and just trying to, pay your rent or whatever. Like, if there's any advice that I could probably ever give anybody, whether they would listen to it or not, it would be know yourself first and really understand who you are and believe in yourself and know and believe that that is who you want to be, right? Like, and have some sort of a
It's
compass.
simplistic, you know. I say you want to go to New York. Well, how do I get there? What's the first thing you got to figure out?
I mean, you got to figure out the map to get there.
I
Right.
might come from Europe, I come from South America, I come from Alaska, right? So
Right.
that's first thing first is basic stuff. You see, people just over, make things more complex than it needs to be.
That's
They're looking for complex and advanced solutions where none is needed.
exactly. Exactly. So that's my reflection, right? So before my daughter came along, before this whole YOMO journey came along, my dream was to be my own CEO of my own software company. I tried a couple different ventures. I really followed all the lessons that I had learned from other people of like, hey, you got to really understand your product market fit, right? You got to really understand all the answers to your questions. You got to really be passionate about what you're doing. You got to really understand, and build an MVP or something like that to proof of concept and do all these things, right? And go get an investor and go get, raise funds in order to launch your company and go do all these things, right? I knew everything that I needed to do and I was willing to put my money in. I was willing to put my time in. I was willing to do all this other stuff, and I did all this stuff. I spent money. I spent probably almost $100,000 on this particular project. I pitched to a lot of different people. I got a whole lot of really good, convincing stories to tell them about what I was trying to do, and it was genuine stories. I thought I was going down the right road, and yet I could never get anybody to fully invest into this where they were willing to give me money to go do what I needed to do to go take it to the next step. Co-founder, I could never even convince somebody to fully get on board with this 100% to go take this journey with me. Like that says something of itself right then and there because they didn't believe in it. And why? So like upon reflection is what I was really looking at in this reflection of why did that occur? As I looked back after I read this book and as I was thinking more about the journey, my life before this whole journey and my life now on this journey and kind of where I'm at today with the pickleball stuff. The biggest difference for me was how invested I was into the question that I was trying to solve. And what I mean by that is Sportly is the platform that I'm talking about, right? Like I cared. Like I don't get me wrong, I cared, but like I didn't care to go much deeper than a couple quick Google searches and some subject matter expert interviews to try to find the answers to my problems, right? Like I didn't go much further than that. Here's the story that I'm going to tell. Here's the answers. Here's what I'm going to pitch to somebody. But like you can tell the bullshit detector on somebody else whether they really believe this is going to be something that they care about and they're not going to stop, or whether they just are, maybe have an idea of a problem they want to go solve and give it a shot or not, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. You know the difference. We're not idiots. Like humans are like, we know when somebody's lying to us. Not lying like on purpose. It's not like you can intentionally be lying, but like we know when somebody is genuine and authentic or not. People that are really good at it, like Bernie Madoff, can come across as genuine and authentic, and totally be lying to you, but that's the exception to the norm. I think most people know when they just talk to somebody whether they genuinely care and whether they genuinely are trying to solve and they're not going to stop, right? What do you think makes the impact? Because that's not the end of the reflection, I guess, but like I'm just kind of curious, like how do you know that they genuinely?
Well, you don't know. So what I'm saying is a lot of times you rely on your system one to do. Your elephant is detecting
Right.
because you basically speak in emotions to the elephant, right? So to me, go back to what I'm saying before is be with my stem. Is like you either do like most people like you talk about Madoff and Hitler or whatever. These guys have the ability to persuade, regardless of whether they believe it or not. And some of these guys may believe,
Right.
but because we as human beings, we have the instinctive ability to generate a certain wavelength. When we exert that kind of energy, there's a certain wavelength that our elephant can feel. Your system, your subconscious, your elephant system one can feel it. So that means when you lie to me, there's a certain energy that is a match, and your elephant feels like, I don't know this, blah blah. You have that suspicion. So
Right.
when you have that suspicion, it goes to your system too. What I'm saying is when you lie to somebody and you're not really good at it, and you're not one of those person who has that innate talent, you can tell because you cannot bring your energy and your frequency to the same level as if you were telling the truth. This is why they use lie detectors. What is the premise of a lie detector?
It's to monitor
Your
your
frequency.
vitals, right?
Yeah, exactly. Your body is producing this frequency, right? When you lie, but to me, like that is just the basis. Like a lie detector is like they take one thing out of the whole entire, like all the variable that makes the elephant be able to detect another elephant for whether or not the other elephant is BSing. They took one thing out of that whole complex variable and they use that as a lie detector.
And it
They just
works.
tracking your heartbeat and your rhythm, but your elephant has a very, very like tuned in like system that uses many, many inputs. So when you
Right.
lie to somebody, even if I don't
Even
feel
if you
you,
believe it, like the person that's lying to you could really believe it, but you still know something's not right.
yes,
Like
exactly. You can
yes,
even tell from across the video, right? From the nuance of your pitch, right? From your facial expression, I can
right.
see it through the video. I don't have to be even face to face with you. I can still tell you BSing me, right?
Yeah.
Or I can tell if you're not interested. I mean, I can do micro expression like psychology, tell you, hey, I'm looking down, I'm looking sideways like this, right? I'm not listening to you. So these are subtle cues that the elephant is well in tune to pick up. So this is
It's
why
his
when
blink,
you lie to
you know.
somebody, this elephant that your subconscious is able to detect, and that will create this suspicious feeling. It's sent to the system to the writer, and the writer say, "Hey, for some reason, I don't know exactly, but for some reason, my elephant is kind of spooked, and something's not right." So we can't really tell specifically if he really lied, but we have a hunch. That's his
Right.
hunch that you lie and you don't 100% trust it because the wavelength doesn't match. Because
Yep.
if
I
I'm talking
agree.
about elephant and you're talking about like dirt or whatever, we talk about two different things. So our wavelength and energy has to match as well. Because if you talk really loud and I talk really soft, think about a conversation. So your human body has a wavelength as well. Like our sound, it goes through a wavelength. Our brains is also a wavelength, right? You can
Right.
even pick up a person's way they think by picking up the brainwaves.
Do you think that wellness solutions,
Yes, that you believe in it.
but do you think that it was going to work?
I think so.
I never left my job to go do Sportly. There's a reason why I never went all in on it and I had my foot halfway in one world, halfway out. It was an idea and it was a good idea. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people have good ideas and a lot of people can take good ideas and sometimes they can turn into something that's a good, fruitful business. But was it something that mattered to me more than anything in the world? And the answer to that was no, not even close.
I
Like,
mean, one variable doesn't dictate whether you believe it or you don't believe it.
you
Just
know,
not certain you believe it. You believe that's going to work. That's why you continue to do that. When you go to talk to USDA and all this, you have this positive. I'm neither negative or positive. Okay,
right.
I'm very subjective. That's who I am, right? And I'm telling you that hey, there is a 50-50 chance that you know USDA won't do shit just because it's not on the agenda to do any of
Right.
these things. And that's what I'm saying is I have even a lower, expectations of this thing than you
Let,
are.
let me change the question. Do you think that I was willing to overcome any obstacle to get Sportly off the ground?
No,
Do you think that I'm willing to overcome any obstacle to get Clubney off the ground? Do you think that I'm willing to overcome any obstacle to get this pickleball thing off the ground?
you heard that. You heard
I,
it.
I'm
you
doing
always
it right
say
now. But why am I willing to do it for these?
I'm this delusional person where I really think pickleball thing is gonna work, but you have a certain level of confidence in the things that,
Like,
right?
let me be clear. The pickleball venture isn't about pickleball for me at all. This has to do with this is something that I love to do, and this is about flow state, like we talked about yesterday. This is something that I value a lot in my life that gets me into a flow state, and that I like to be around that environment, those people, and I want to put myself more on that path because I know that if I'm running downhill in an environment that is that kind of a world, I will overcome things, right? Like I will try to find it because this is about my daughter. This is I'm
Finding
doing
joy in life because
exactly
you
right.
think about it, we're talking about this the Mexican fisherman or the Indian chief story all over again. It's like, okay, why don't you buy a bigger boat and fish more and make more profit and buy bigger
Right.
boats and have a fleet and then move to New York and build an empire and then what and go back and
Yeah.
fish enough to eat. So that's the same thing. That person is, what do you value? Right? Some people value something else. I value peace and quiet, right? That means like for me, it's like I'm not going out there to try to make something like in the universe. I'm not going out there to go and say, well, I want to build like something that has like a big impact on the world. I mean, there are people who does that.
And that's
That's great.
great. Go for it. Yeah. I
And
mean,
but I said, man, if you look at me and say, hey, it looks like true is going backward, right? You don't less and less. You think about that aspect, but that is a step forward for me.
right.
Doing the pickleball is a step forward for you
Right.
because what is it that you want to do? Okay, I'm going to build this fucking gigantic side, like CEO, become a CEO of this software company, make a boatload of money, right? Then
Mhm.
I'm going to retire. Then I'm going to do what? I'm going to play some pickleball.
Right.
So the
Right.
thing is, you fast forwarding yourself to the point where you say,
This
hey, forget all this shit. I'm gonna go directly
this
to
is
the product.
this is exactly right, right? Okay, so here's the lesson that I was getting to with going beyond Google, right? With Sportly, I thought I had an answer to a problem out there. I thought I'd found a solution to a problem out there that I could convince somebody else that this is a problem and I found a solution and let's go do this. This is not the pickleball for me isn't about I don't know how I even found this opportunity because like the only reason I found it was because I was going beyond Google of keeping mining down a well of,
It's
trying to live
back
a
to the
life.
story what we said about the how to sell, right? When you sell something, if you ask teenager, right,
That's what
but
it's like. That's what the product does. It's just scanning profiles all day long,
should
icons.
scan it
And
on their server and not on your computer. Build a built-in browser that actually runs without the UI. It's
yeah,
faster anyway. But I'm saying, a teenager really want to buy this Ferrari. The thing is, he doesn't want a Ferrari.
no,
A teenager didn't want a Ferrari. What does he want?
he wants to impress people. He
Nah,
wants
he
to
wants
get
a
away.
girl.
I don't know.
No,
Yeah, the
no,
girl.
no.
Yeah, there
He
you go.
wants a girl, right?
Yeah,
And I mean, the thing is, I'm not arguing with you or anyone about this. Every fucking teenager, they want a girl. So they go to work, they do all this shit, be macho, be like,
right.
go out there and punch people in the face, whatever, they act stupid, buy a car, whatever. Everything they do, because they want a girl. I'm not gonna argue with you on that because that is to me universally like if you are not born, like
It's indirectly is what you're saying, right?
You are going through a transitions to get to what you want, right?
But I think that's kind of the point of all this reflection is like
The
indirectly, I was led to Pickleball. I was led to Clubney with you and I, what we were doing. I was directly trying to solve a problem, with that I was trying
So
to.
why do you want to be a CEO of a software company? Do you enjoy
No, I don't. Like
running a
I
company?
see, like
That's what I'm saying is people must stand because
right,
you're saying that I need to do this shit. That's the logic. Like
right.
people want to do. I become a CEO of this company. Why do you
What
want
I
to be
wanted
CEO
was
of a
freedom.
company?
I wanted freedom and flexibility, and to do what I wanted to do.
Do whatever you want whenever you want.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
That's my goal. The goal is that directly determine how happy my life is.
Agreed. I'm so tired of my entire professional career of being constrained by other people as to what I can do and cannot do.
Most
It's
people are not. I mean, I think we are built very similarly. This is what we're talking about: the stress zone versus the panic zone. The stress zone is like, hey, I'm doing something, but because I told myself that I'm doing
right.
it, versus someone else tell me to do something. Like that's a panic zone. It's like I don't. For whatever reason, we have this gene that kind of rebel against that told mentality. You
Yep.
can't tell me any shit because for whatever reason, we have this free will mentality. Even though we don't have free will, we have a free will
Right.
mentality saying, hey, I've been suppressed enough
Right.
by the surrounding my bodies and everything. You don't tell me what to do, right? When we tell somebody, they will rebel against it. They will push against. It's like if I push it against you, and then you touch your hand, right? And I push your hand. What do?
Push back. I mean,
Exactly. This is naturally how human behave. If your hand, my hand, I put your hand, my hand, and I push, right? Your natural tendency is to push back.
of course.
You don't yield. This
I
is
don't tell
just
you
a
fucking with
human
me.
tendency, right?
Yeah.
Just a human tendency. I mean, regardless how whether or not it's
Because
right, wrong,
we're
whatever.
90% chimp and we're 10% bee.
There's
Right.
a gene in us that makes you act very, very accurately. Like 99% of the time, you will push back.
Yeah. Because we're individual chimps, 90%, like at a company, like
It's
they
a
want you to be
99%.
in a corporate world environment, they want you to be 90% B, 10% chimp,
Has to be 100% B.
I don't know about 100% because they might tell you like, we want you to bring ideas, we want you to bring creativity. So they give you a little bit of chimp, like, but
No,
nowhere
no,
near
no.
what
They give you like a crumb. That's what they do.
that's true. Yeah, to even they keep you from the cliff,
Rebelling, but they
No,
not say,
but
"Hey, I encourage him to give me ideas." Like, no shit, keep your mouth shut. Do what you're told.
here,
But you go and you pitch your fucking ideas to your boss, and what does she say? No, she say, "Well, yeah, good, but do this, blah blah." Like she doesn't fucking care about your ideas.
unless it directly makes her life easier.
Most of the time, they only go push back. I'm
Oh
telling
yeah.
you what I learned from psychology. It's just basically that's human
Oh, they don't like
behavior,
yeah,
and we are
they don't like
ingrained
change.
into pushback. If you push, they push, especially
Well,
with authority, right?
of
That
course not. So here's the secret that I learned in the corporate world of how to get along without getting in trouble all the time. It was just do it and don't even ask. Like, and then if they see it, then you get in
sorry.
trouble. You say, sorry, did it help? Yeah, it did. Okay, all right, well then good. Because if you try to go get approval and go ask for it,
I'll always ask for forgiveness. Don't ask for
right.
permission.
Exactly. I mean, that's the only way that you can still have a little bit of creativity. The entire job at OSF Digital, everything that I did, none of it was, if I would have just tried to get approval for it every single time, nobody would have ever let me do a single fucking thing that I did there. I just did it and nobody even knew, most of the time. And like, that's fine with me. But at the same time, here's the big thing though, is it's people like me doing stuff like that and that kind of company that they know that I never really fit in because like that's not how you grow in an organization.
You're less likable by them to want to put you in that organization. They had to. They keep you
Right.
because they had to. That's mean they don't want you. They don't want your ideas. They are giving you some slack because they needed something from you.
Yep. And then when they got what they got, then they got it. Then they're done. Once they realize, I can't extract any more value out of this, then that's done.
It's
Now,
throwing you.
if
You can forget about that.
if you have the mentality of my job in a corporate world is to keep everything off of my boss's desk, then that's the people that are going to survive and thrive and grow and be somewhere for a really long period of time.
I try, and I think I suffer miserably
Yeah.
when I was employed.
Agreed. Yeah.
I've been employed for 2 years. I'm like miserable a year and a half of it.
It's horrible. It truly soul sucking. It's like that Hampton J. Pig thing from Tiny Toons I told you about, where he's like the little soul suckers coming around and he's like, I'm going to clean my room. And then the soul sucker sucks his soul out of him and he was like, I'm going to clean my room. You're dead. You're not a human being, like, when you're doing these things, right? Like, they give you just enough to keep you alive, but you're not alive. You're not able to fully explore your purpose and your own things you care about. You don't even believe in yourself, right? This is what I started off this reflection with is, if you want somebody to back you, you have to fully believe in who you are and the mission that you're on and what matters to you. Like, you have to. Otherwise, there is no way that somebody else is going to ever get behind you. Not only get behind you, but get behind you and help you and encourage you to get to where you want to go. When I was in a role like that before at a company and I was trying to go do other things on the side, I didn't even believe in myself enough to say that I don't need these other people to go do this other stuff, because I didn't believe I was going down the right road. I mean, honestly, give it a shot and see if it works, then I'll jump, right? I'll hustle on the side and do whatever I got to do until it's ready to make the jump, right? That's not how it works. When you really believe in yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, there's no way that you're ever going to make the jump and go down a complete unknown path, unless you fully know that the person you're going to go walk with down that road is somebody that you know deep down inside is the path that you want to go walk down, and you're not going to turn back, right? You can't turn back, right? I can't go back to who I was before my daughter was born. I can't go back.
The
I don't
point
want
is
to.
exactly the point is you
Right.
don't want to, because
Right.
you say, well, when I want to go back, well, why would I want to go back when I have something better, something
Right.
that aligns with me, something that makes me feels better? That's what I'm saying. Is it's not that you can't go back logically or physically. It's about the mentally say, well, I have basically be here and then I gravitate towards something better for me. So for you to go back, it doesn't make sense. So that's
Right.
why you don't go back, right? You can go back and get a corporate job and be the
Oh, I
sales
can.
Chris
Right.
again, right? But you don't want to say, well, just like for me, it's like, hey, I'm not employable because I have run my own business and I
Right.
do my own independent consultant, right? I like to be independent.
Sure.
And I don't want, I mean, I have job offers that, high salary, but I can't take it. One thing looks good, the salary looks good, but the rest of them I don't like. I don't like to being like in doing this and talk to people to forget it. So it kind of like discourages you from even wanting it. It becomes like something you try to avoid. And
Right.
so you don't want to go down that path. Like even if you force, like, yeah, there are certain way you can force myself, meaning, hey, take whatever I have, take it away and force me to go work, right? Then I may do that
Right.
because,
You'll leave as soon as you.
right, because you're trying to find that you always will find the directions that you're going to go towards to make your joy of life even higher, right? Whatever that direction is, you're always going to gravitate toward, even if you get knocked back, right? Oh, I got to be in corporate, but I'm still going to do something on the side just because I need to go back to where I need to be before. So that way I depend less on being this slave to somebody who told me to
Right.
do. And to me that's like even worse. You will not easily be put into a corner where you have to go back to work at corporate,
Right.
because you get to the point where, well, if I can't do pickleball, I can use it for something else, right?
Yep.
Hey, let's start
Catering
vacations
hall.
or whatever. It
Like
doesn't
a
matter. Let's start
or a
something,
wedding
right?
venue or something.
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
Right.
There's so many options, almost unlimited number of options for you to do without having to go back to do anything, because you're not this one trick pony anymore. You have
Right.
become versatile now.
I think the path that I'm going down forces me to be versatile, because I know that I want to keep going down this path, right? Because you've talked to me every single day and we've had honest, frank discussions. And like you said, when somebody's lying to you or not. You've talked to me for almost every day for 4 years. You know if I'm serious or not about something. How many ideas have I brought to you where you're like, well,
Nah, not gonna.
You've always been very good at counseling me and going, this isn't it. Tell me what you feel about when I first brought this idea up about starting a pickleball club.
I told you you should. Remember?
Right. But I'm saying almost every other idea within the first 5 minutes of me telling you, you're just like,
Didn't know.
It takes me some time to go, yeah, he's right. Like, this isn't really what I actually care. This isn't a Beaver must dam kind of moment, right? For me, it is, right? And I don't think that there's any, like, writing the book was a Beaver must dam moment for me, right? I didn't have any choice. I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know how to publish it or get it done. It was a lot of work, and I hit a lot of roadblocks. and I hit a lot of different things along the way. It mattered to me. Like it was personal. It was something I wanted to do. I'm not an author. I was an author of that story, right? Like I'm not a writer. I write what I care about. This is like the guy that sells real estate in the book, The Compound Effect. He doesn't sell, $1 million condos on Miami Beach. He sells a closet. He sells a parking space because that's why they buy that place. They buy it for a very specific reason. He's not selling real estate. He's selling one particular thing to one particular person.
He's selling a want. He's selling a need.
Yes.
Most people come say, hey, I'm a chef. I buy a house. I need that kitchen. All you have to do is show them the kitchen. I don't care about fucking garage. I don't care about the the living room or the upstairs study. Talk to me about the kitchen. Oh, here's a double oven. You can control temperature. Double fridge. You can put here. These are layout. Blah blah blah. You cook. All you have to do is talking about cooking. That's all you gotta do. You sell the kitchen if you know the guy's a chef.
That is such a good point. Do you know why I picked this facility for pickleball? You know how many places that we toured or secondhandly just stopped and looked in the windows of places? Do you know how many places that I've been looking at over the past year and a half, and either mentally or just stopping while I'm driving, or actually gone and checked it out? Like it's been, I don't know, at least 30 that I can think of off the top of my head of things that I've really explored. Do you know why this particular place, is the place that I was like, this is it? It was just a wide open fucking space, clean and wide open, and that was it.
And that
was all that I cared
That's suitable for the image in your head. Which
that
is,
was
hey,
exactly.
I need the bathroom.
There's
I
only
need
two
strobe lights.
Dude,
like
there's only two fucking bathrooms
you need
in this place. Like legitimately, there's only two bathrooms in this place, and I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like nobody's gonna really care. They're gonna come in, they're gonna go, oh, this is an amazing place to go play pickleball. We can always build more bathrooms. If people are like, well, we really need a locker room, I'm gonna be like, okay, fine. But like, what I really wanted was just this wide open, no poles, unobstructed space. It was just like
whatever that appeals to a pickleball player is
right.
What you sell. You don't sell. Hey, it's high ceiling.
Right.
Like whatever is appeals to the buyer. What he is. You gotta sell the river to the beaver.
Exactly. Like you don't have to sell the river to the beaver. Like every other facility that we toured, that we actually toured, I walked in and immediately I was like, nope, nope, no. I instinctively knew. I was like, I would look around, I'd be like, no, I don't want to play in here. There was just that unconscious, immediate. I could try to talk myself into it, but like I almost fucking talked myself into it with the Irvington Coal Factory, right? I mean, you saw me going back and forth on that one forever. And I'm so glad that I didn't fucking go with that, because I was trying to make that work. Right. Yes, I was.
And I say, like, if it's not, okay, going back to the slot machine, like any machine with a coin slot, like you're talking about a coin slot made for a quarter. Can you put a dime into a quarter slot? Yes, you can, but it's not made for a quarter. So only put a quarter. So find a quarter. So not because something, it may work. No, it's still a no. It has to be, does it fit the thing you want? Do you feel good about it? Do you feel confident? And you go do it. That's what I'm saying is, the pickleball thing for you is really good. It's just like, I just don't have any interest in pickleball for whatever reason. I just love football.
Right.
You know what I mean? The thing is, it like fits 99% of the profile, right? You got everything in place. It's just that one thing doesn't fit. Therefore, it's not the real red thread. So that's why I say I know instinctively, like knowing myself now, that there's something that I know that I like, and there's something that I feel like, I have a feeling for, an emotion kind of activates whenever you're talking about a certain topic, right? You can talk about football. I would talk about football like, I don't nonstop. I can talk about Clubberty nonstop. I mean,
why don't you go coach football? Like, why don't you just go like coach, try to get a job at like the Texans or something like that as like an analyst or something,
I don't know. I just like football. I just don't know what it is that I need to do. I mean, I like to watch football. I like to analyze, the games. And to me, it's like, that's what's fun, is I analyze the game and say, well, in order to do this, you got to do this. Now they're add defense to do offense, right? What are their strong points? What are the weak points? And the thing is, if you tell me, like, if you match somebody up, I can tell you who has high probability of winning. So for me, I'm very excited about statistic numbers, and I like to build things. Like, I look at buildings, like, wow, that building's nice. I go to any building, right? I look at, okay, they use this air bracket. I just look at all those little nitty little things, but that
Right.
occupies me and I can get lost in it. So to me, I know who I am and I know what I like. So if you're talking about, hey, let's do a construction company and build blah, 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 like I'm all in.
We could go build pickleball facilities, and franchise this shit if it works out well. You know what I mean? Trust me, after this experience, I don't want fucking shit to do with that. I can help you design it.
But that's the thing is, it doesn't align with who you want to be. You don't
No,
want to do anything about construction, right?
hate it.
You just want to play pickleball. That's what I'm
Yes.
saying is there is mostly fit, but it's not 100% the right fit. So
Right.
you have to also be cautious about those as well, because those are false red thread, right? We call it a thread, remember?
Yep.
Thread, right? You don't want a false red thread.
It is, because you're not going to
Because
stop.
the thing is, you get to the point where I know I should like this, but how come I'm so miserable? I'm so anxious, and you have this uneasy feeling, and it's hard to shake. It's like just like people. Sometimes they call it the golden handcuff because you work for a company, right? You work for a company that pays you well, and you think they pays you well, but they torture you, right? It's called a golden handcuff because you can't get out of it, even though you hate the job, but you can't quit the job because no one will pay you that much.
Right.
If you, on the other hand, when you don't like that job and things are bad for you, eventually they force you to quit. You will quit. But if you are cuffed into the middle, right, you can't do anything. You can't quit either. You can't move forward and you can't quit. But the other people who are like say, it's not a fit. They probably gonna be able to endure for maybe a few years and they'll quit and find something else. But if you're golden handcuffed into something, you're gonna be there until you retire before you quit. You get out of it, and that's more dangerous than not. Just like we're talking about the A student, the F student, and the C plus student. C plus student is the worst. That's probably the worst place to be.
I could not agree more. How many people do you think are doing what I've done, what I'm doing right now in my career, or what you did in your career, where you leave a golden handcuff position? Like I could easily continue my career in the high tech industry, and I'm at the prime of my career. I'm LeBron James at 28 years old right now. Like I am a proven commodity. I know what I'm doing. I do it
You're
well.
James, and you go out there and you're plucking weeds. That's what you're doing. That's what people see you doing. Saying, hey, no, you are this high talented, sales executive. Now you out there and open a pickleball club. That is like
How
LeBron going out doing his own yard.
Like Andrew Luck leaving football. Most guys figure out how to get healthy, take some time off, whatever. He was just like, no, I don't want to. I'm done. And people were like, you're not even 30 years old yet, Andrew. What are you doing? And he was like, I don't do this anymore. I have other things that I care about.
What I'm saying is, to get to that point, it's a very low. It's a low, very low percentage. I mean, I'm talking about maybe less than 5% of people will be able to get there. Probably 1%. I mean, I'm guessing here, but it's a very small number of people that will realize that, hey, my life kind of like not the way that I want, and I need to turn it around. So there's the camp where your life sucks so much, you're the F student, that you are forced to change and say, well, I don't like that. And because the thing is, they treat me like shit and they don't pay me any well, so I'm gonna leave.
Right.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer decision.
Right.
But if they pay me well, but but they treat me like shit, say, oh, I don't know, I guess I have to endure it. So this is where most people goes into that bell curve, right? They have 5% on the back and front. The bell curve is like 90% in that bell curve. So I'm talking about the people who actually quit, right? It's going to be less than 5% because they in the other end where they say, hey, I can't do this, right? Because if they are handcuffed to something, they can't quantify the negative value of enduring something that is toxic. Right? They can say, hey, my paycheck is 200K, 300K, whatever it is. Well, they can't quantify the toxicity of what am I giving up, what am I paying for that 200K,
like
300K.
the saving grace for me of the past job that I'm moving into this world and completely going away from it was the people and being able to help. That was all I cared about. I didn't really care about what we were doing or the success or failure of what we were doing. I cared about the people and helping them to grow and get better and to do what they wanted to do. So like every day that was still fulfilling and rewarding for me. But like I also had to endure at least 75% of the rest of the time doing shit that I was not fulfilling and rewarding. And I'm not saying that everything, nobody's ever going to get 100% of fulfilling, rewarding activities, maybe.
But that's the compass that you
Right.
need to get towards, right?
That is the direction you go, is toward fulfilling and purpose.
You know when you get closer versus getting farther. You say,
Right.
hey, I'm driving a Dallas and I hate driving, right? Whatever it is you hate, you are really going to detest the feeling of driving in this boring and this oozing sound that makes you drowsy so much. You hated it. But when you're making progress, the
Right.
progress is what keeps you going. How would you feel?
Horrible.
It's devastating. That's what I'm saying is you have a direction that you need to head towards. And yes, you're not 100%, but because you are heading toward and you're getting better at it, closer to it, then that gives you a little of a euphoria, like the feel good emotions and chemical in your body that it release, and it kind of keep you go to the next mile. And that's why when you go and say, well, my directions or my kind of work or my kind of being is this kind or this direction, and every day you work toward that, it gets you get that good feeling. But if you were to work at some place and you think that I'm wasting life, I'm wasting your time, your life, and then you are completely like hated that environment, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse, and you get so depressed,
And you
right? You
stop
get
believing in yourself.
anxiety,
You stop believing in yourself.
you get worse and worse and worse and worse. And that's where people get stuck, right? They get
Yep.
stuck and they can't get out. And it's, how can somebody go from having like millions of dollars and then become homeless?
I mean, well, I guess if it's a choice, then good for them.
People don't want to have, I mean, I don't think anyone who has the faculty to work with their hands and feet can be homeless, because homeless is something when their mental state has become completely ruined
Yeah, I
in a
mean,
way,
kind of giving
right?
up.
Went to another stage in their mind where
Yep.
they don't believe in themselves anymore. This is what I'm talking about. You losing that confidence. You losing
Yep.
yourself,
Your pride.
right? You
Yep.
lose that. But
Yep.
if you have somebody say, "Well, I still have some options," right? And then they can think about other stuff. Because to me, like right now, I have my faculty. If you say, "Hey, take away everything," and don't impact my mental capacity at all, I promise you, I can get a house. Because the thing is, I say, you go to the library, it's free. You walk, you go to the park, it's free. There's like so many parks out, everywhere. Everything has like restroom, even something even have bath and whatever. You have YMCA and all that. If you throw me into the United States and you give me nothing except for my shirt, I can probably make it back in a year or two. There's no doubt about it. I have that much confidence because my mental fortitude has not collapsed. It's just because when you get to the point where you endure so much that it will collapse. And when you
Right.
collapse, you don't think about it. Just like when you're in the zone and you don't remember, hey, you have this online podcast with your partner. You just forgot. I mean, you don't think about it.
Right.
So the same thing is when you get into this rut, you don't think about, hey, what are the amenities that United States had provide for me as a citizen in the United States, right? To me, if you as a person right now think about it, there's so many. But when
Oh yeah.
you're homeless,
You have a
you
lot of
just can't think
resources.
about it. You
Yeah.
just can't think
Yeah.
about it. You just think about, okay, I need to go and ask for money. That's all you think about.
Right.
You can't think about anything else because your mental capacity and your mental fortune has been crushed.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. It's important for you to not lose your self confidence.
When you're going down the path that you want to go down, like you hit a roadblock. It's not a roadblock. It's just another fun challenge to solve, right? Because you're like, well, this happened, and now I got to figure that out. It's fun. Like it's not like soul crushing, right?
You notice a lot of people who are homeless, right? And you and me and the people around him say, you keep asking to yourself, why wouldn't he do this? Why wouldn't he do that? There's so many things he can do. Why he just sit there and ask for money? It's because
Yeah.
he could not think anymore. He has been completely crushed mentally. So the reason why I'm saying about all this bill is because it is important for everybody in our society in the bell curve not to put yourself in a corner, because when you put yourself in a corner, you even lose that ability to think.
Yep. This is actually a good full circle because that's the thing that triggered me in this book was going beyond Google to answer your question. Most people only just when they have a question, they just go to Google and they ask a question. going beyond Google for the homeless person means I got to figure out why I'm here, what I want, like where do I want to go, and then all these different paths open up in front of you, and then you go down a path and you realize, oh well, that didn't work. I'm going to ask a couple questions and I'm going to go down this path. Then that didn't work. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go that way. But the thing is when you find, your own path that you want to go down, when you hit a section where you don't know the answer to, you got to go figure out your own problems, right? No one's going to tell Chris Sears or True, what matters
But
most to
only
them.
one
Like,
person can answer your beautiful question.
exactly. And that's
Only
only
one.
you. Like, no one is going to tell me, hey, hey, Chris, just leave your job and go start a pickleball club. Like, honestly, like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. But if you know me, it makes 100% sense, right? But like, if you just told somebody, hey, leave a $250,000 a year job and, go do something where piss off your wife and try to go take a risk on something where you have no idea what's going to happen. And like, I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
To me, you just skipping, you just fast forward. Like I'm talking,
Right.
I told you, like you want to be a Mexican fisherman, right? You don't need to go and build a bunch of boats, build an empire to go retire and go
Fish.
back and go fish, right?
Just go fish. Like, I just
You
want to
want
play
to play
pickleball, so I'm
pickleball,
gonna go.
right? Go play pickleball. Don't say,
That's
hey,
what I'm gonna do.
I'm going to start a company. I'm going to be CEO of it, make a bunch of money. Then I'm going to go play pickleball. I said, shit, just skip all that. Go play pickleball.
Maybe this becomes so successful that I go buy IRC. Now I own a tennis and pickleball facility, So I have my pickleball facility, I'm a tennis facility, and then I'm like, I just run the tennis and pickleball world here in Indianapolis someday. I don't really care. And
As
maybe you and
long
I
as you
decide
get
we
to
want
play
to franchise
pickleball.
this and we start to go explore other fucking places in the country that we want to go do this in.
Like I say,
I don't know.
you sell the kitchen. You don't care
Right.
about the garage, but the garage is going to be there.
Right. But here's the thing is that the Mexican fisherman story, like I was doing exactly what we joke about all the time of, well, you do this and then you go do that, and then you go do this and you go do that. Truthfully, I just want a place down the goddamn street, which is where this place is. It's less than I think I timed it. If I drive out of my neighborhood and get to this place, it's like 3 minutes. It's a 3-minute drive. I could run there in about 12 minutes from my home, right? Walk out my door and go jog and be there in about 12 minutes. I just wanted a place down the street that's a beautiful facility that meets all my needs, that I could go play pickleball as much as I want to, and also help other people to play more pickleball. That's it. That was my vision, right? Like,
And the beautiful part is your wife say, go to the club, right? Why you here? I want you to go there. She doesn't want. She wants you to make money, so she wants you to go.
Get out of here,
and she can push you out.
You have to go there. Like you have to get the fucking place every single day.
Get up,
like,
Chris. Why are you still late? Pickleball club.
Go to the pickleball club. I gotta put a pause on this because I got shit I gotta do while Luke is asleep. So, all right, that was a fun midday, Yomel, as always. Any final thoughts for you?
Only you can answer your questions.
Don't use Google. If you ever use Google to solve your deepest questions that you care most about,
You
you're
are
already down the wrong path. This was the point of this reflection. I used Google to find the sportly solution.
Hey, should I quit my job?
Yes.
We say you should not quit your job.
Well, I mean, a rational person would be like, no, why would you leave a job that you're
BT, should I quit my job? Say, no, most people should not.
blah, blah, ask if Andrew Luck asked any football fan, should I get rid of my $100 million contract and retire? What do you think they would say?
They would say, hell no.
Are you fucking kidding me, Andrew? Just sit on the bench and ride the pine for the next 4 years. Get your money and do whatever the fuck you want to do. Like, of course that we would all say that. Be like, what do you mean? There's somebody's giving you $100 million.
But still want me at a facility, even though I'm just sitting on the bench.
I don't want to be. I have other things I want to do in my life.
Take the $100 million. Yeah, I don't want you to say I have to be there. No, I want to be there.
Guarantee Google would have said, yeah, Andrew, just
suck it up.
Suck it up, everybody. Thanks for joining, everyone. Question we can leave: are you busy telling people answers or sharing your questions? So keep exploring the question.
Ask your question. You have to ask a question, and because the thing is, only you can answer it. You can share and get their input, but use that input as data points. But only you can answer that questions. So you have to ask the questions so that you can answer them.
Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you all tomorrow.